negotiate, give and trade.
We on radio, internet, and TV.
Like us, share us, and subscribe to
ZIZonline.com.
And remember, we don't sell nothing over $5,000. Join us right here on ZIZ Radio every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. Call 465-1977, 465-1903, or 662-8674. ZIZ Radio, giving back to the people.
The views and opinions expressed by participants and callers during this program are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or policies of ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation, its management, or sponsors. The station accepts no responsibility for statements made. Good morning, St. Kitts and Nevis, and welcome to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm your host, Devon Cornelius, and thank you for joining me in the program for today, Tuesday, September 30th, 2025. In studio with me today are two lovely ladies from Lake Health and Wellbeing, and I'll give them the opportunity to introduce themselves and tell us a bit about who they are and why they're here today.
Okay, so good morning, everybody in Radioland. Also, thank you to ZIZ for the opportunity to be here this morning. Belated Independence greetings to everyone as well. My name is Abby Beho. I'm the founder and program director of Lake Health and Wellbeing. We would have been here about a month or two ago, so maybe you might be familiar, but just in case you're not familiar, Lake Health and Wellbeing, we're a public health NGO based in St. Kitts. We aim to improve the health and well-being of our local, regional, online community, and we do that in a number of ways. So we raise awareness of health issues, we do research to understand what's happening in terms of our community and what the needs are around health. We advocate for evidence-based health policy, and we do projects in the community to address particular health issues. And so I'll pass on to lovely Jay.
Yes.
Good morning. My name is Jay Robinson. I am the project assistant here at Lake Health and Wellbeing. And as my colleague would have said, we aim to educate the public here in St. Kitts and Nevis and regionally and our online communities. So you can follow us on our social media platforms and you can get all the information about what we do here.
Awesome. So let's go into the activities.
Okay.
In terms of what you guys will be doing. I think there was a special recognition from the 18th to the 25th.
Yes, that's right.
So tell us about that and tell us what your activities are coming up.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, they're no longer coming up. They're in the past, but that's
Yes.
okay. So why we're here today is that it was the Global Week for Action on NCDs, so that's non-communicable diseases, from the 18th to the 25th of September. It's an annual observance. It's an opportunity for the world to put the focus on non-communicable diseases. So non-communicable diseases are diseases that are not passed from person to person. They tend to develop over time.
Right.
So there are conditions like diabetes, hypertension, cancer. We also include conditions like endometriosis, fibroids, and things like that. Basically, chronic health conditions. A lot of them are lifestyle related, so related to unhealthy diets, lack of physical activity. So that some of them are related to our lifestyle. So the Global Week for Action for NCDs this year, the theme was Time to Lead, and it was an opportunity to explore what can we do to lead on NCDs. What can our leaders do? What can we do as individuals to tackle non-communicable diseases? And the idea is that we want to see strong leadership when it comes to non-communicable diseases. And so what we were doing over the week, we had a social media campaign, and the idea behind the social media campaign was to sort of show solidarity across different sectors. So we had policymakers, NGOs, and local advocates showing how they are leading on NCDs, or the action they would like to see our leaders take when it comes to non-communicable diseases. We also had a little campaign called My NCD Story, and I'll let Jay talk a little bit about that.
Okay, go ahead.
So, yeah, for the Global Week for Action on NCDs, we had several projects and activities that we did throughout the week. And one was Voices of SKN, where we asked people in the community or their caregivers how they live with NCDs. And we have much feedback from the community here. We had stories of people that were diagnosed with things like diabetes or kidney disease. And they told their story and how it impacts them financially, how it impacts them socially, and even how it impacts their mental health. And we wanted to hear it directly from people who live with the NCDs that we've mentioned. Another big event that we did just Saturday over in Nevis is we had a panel discussion and a film screening. We worked with the Ministry of Health Jamaica, and we were able to show their documentary, Dying Young. And so we showed that in Nevis, and we had a panel discussion with leaders here in the communities. We had several doctors, a nutritionist, a mental health counselor. And then we had people from the local community in Nevis that came out to enjoy the film and then to just get the information about what we can do. Actually, most of the panelists talked about the policy changes that we could do for NCDs here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So really great events, including our social media campaigns, where if you would look on our site, you would see all of the different posts that we had from the local community. We've even had the Honorable Prime Minister Terence Drew. He even came and participated in our social media campaign. We had really good input.
Awesome. Tell us about the response from the general public in terms of their participation, their thoughts on these activities.
Yeah, so I can start and then Jay can finish up. But I think it's been a really positive experience. The public responded very positively, and I think it's because we had a variety of voices represented in the campaign. So we had right up from the Prime Minister right down to the average person on the street participating in the campaign. So like Jay would have mentioned, we had the Prime Minister, we had the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, we had the Director of the Nevis Department of Gender Affairs sharing, how they're leading on NCDs. We had Honorable Janelle Nisbet, the Minister of Health in Nevis as well. And, we got some good engagement on social media. And I think it was an opportunity to show that we are all working hard towards tackling non-communicable diseases. You might not see necessarily the action that's taking place, but there's a lot going on behind the scenes with people taking action on NCDs. We also highlighted voices from NGOs. So we had the Mental Health Association, the Diabetes Association, the Nevis Renal Society, also highlighting what they've been doing to tackle NCDs. And then we also had a Dr. Pierre, talking about a really interesting initiative that he has been spearheading, which is Go Doctor and the Urgent Care Clinic. So I think because we've had a variety of people participating in the campaign, it's been well received by the public. And then Jay can speak to how people have responded to the stories and the panel discussion.
Oh, definitely. The feedback that we got, so whenever we put out the Voices of SKN, I ask people to just give me a call or send me an email to see how we can talk. And I tell you, I was on the phone with one young lady for almost an hour. She was so willing to share her story because once she did get a lot of assistance. She talked about getting assistance from the Nevis Renal Society, the things that she got. So she was so just excited to share her story with us, which was really good. But we also got a lot of feedback from young people, the youth here in St. Kitts and Nevis, where they really talk about how getting policies implemented for things like school nutrition program, because they are so hopeful that the next generation will be able to tackle these non-communicable diseases. So the feedback that we got from a range of people, from people living with NCDs, from the youth, from just family members and caregivers, it was quite a wonderful response, definitely.
What do you hope the impact of these activities would be locally and even regionally in the next 5 to 10 years, or even less?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're trying to do is really just raise awareness. We want people to be aware of non-communicable diseases, the impact they have on our communities, but we also want people to take action. So what we're calling for is that for everybody to think about their lifestyles. So there's simple things that you can do to reduce your risk of developing a non-communicable disease, and that is, eating a healthy diet, participating in regular physical activity, taking care of your mental health. These are just simple things that we can all do to reduce our risk of developing a non-communicable disease. But we also want to see policy change. So there are policies that can be introduced to tackle NCDs. And I think with policy, it makes life easier. Policies can really make the healthier choice the easiest choice for the public. Right. It can encourage positive behaviors. It can nudge people towards healthy choices. So there are policies such as, a school nutrition policy that's been talked about, sugar-sweetened beverage taxation, front of package warning labels, all those types of policies that would help us to make healthier choices when it comes to the things that we select when we go into the shops. But there are also policies that can be introduced to make physical activity more accessible, universal health coverage, making medications for NCDs more accessible. So there are a range of different policies, evidence-based policies that we would like to see that support the individual behavior change as well. And just to highlight that the Global Week for Action on NCDs it's a global initiative, and so it's organized by the Global NCD Alliance, and we're part of the Global NCD Alliance because we formed the St. Kitts and Nevis NCD Alliance, and so we're part of that global family, and so that allows us to have a global reach. So our campaign also had global reach, so we were able to be highlighted in the global campaign as well. So our messages were not just local, they also reached out regionally and globally. So that's the type of impact that we would like to see. And I don't know, Jay, if you want to add anything.
Well, I think you really touched on it. I think we want to see action because I think people know that NCDs exist. I think they know that they are an issue, but I don't think people know exactly what they can do to reduce the risk. So as we want to educate the public, we also want the public to take action. So as we have these panel discussions and we do the social media campaigns, we want you to take in the information, but then we also want you to do something with it. So if that means drinking more water, eating more vegetables, we here at Lake Health and Wellbeing, we offer a community walk twice a week. We offer a yoga class once a week. So if that means that you would have to come and maybe do some more activity to lower your calorie intake and to just live a better lifestyle, these are the things that we want you to do.
Yeah.
As you spoke about the policy changes, which I think is really good. I know in Nevis in particular, in the schools, it's a set menu for all of the schools for their lunch program, and I don't know if they do it now, but I think it was every Wednesday, like water Wednesdays, and then they had locally made ice lollies instead of the processed ones, using local fruits and so on. But in terms of partnerships with the private sector, especially those in the food and beverage industry, has there been any partnership, or what would you like to see from the private sector in this area?
I think, the private sector does have a part to play. They have a responsibility to make sure that their customers have access to healthy foods and healthy beverages. So there are partnerships that can be made with healthy organizations that are creating healthy foods and snacks. There are partnerships that can be made with organizations that produce water so that we can encourage the public to drink more water. But I think, in terms of the conversation that we need to have with the industries that produce unhealthy beverages, unhealthy foods, we do need to speak to them about reformulation. So reducing the salt content, reducing the fat content, removing trans fat from their foods, and really creating healthier options for everybody that lives in St. Kitts and Nevis. Because at the end of the day, we can't have a sustainable society if we have an unhealthy population. And so we can all play a part in that. And that also means the food and beverage industry must really reimagine the way they produce their products so that we can create healthier products for people to purchase.
Awesome. As we begin to wrap up, how can listeners join the movement beyond last week, this week, and going forward?
Well, going forward, I think really and truly, we're always organizing some type of event. So we organize regular workshops. As Jay would have mentioned, there's a yoga class, there's a walking group. So get involved in those activities. And we also have, opportunities for volunteering. So there's that opportunity as well. But I think, as it relates to NCDs, there's things that you can do every single day to become part of the movement.
Right.
You yourselves can raise awareness within your community. If you're in a church, a youth group, you can be that change. You can encourage healthy behaviors in your community. You can also encourage the government to introduce the policies that we need in terms of healthier lifestyles. So really just eat healthily, exercise more, take care of your mental health, and also you be that change, you be that advocate within your community and within your family as well. And I think also starting from a young generation, also think about your children. How can you start to introduce healthy behaviors from as young as possible so that children adopt those behaviors and maintain them throughout their life? Yeah.
Awesome.
So I don't know, Jay.
Sure.
Abby said everything. But if you would like some help, if you do need some tips, you can always reach out to us at Lake Health and Wellbeing. You can call us. You can come visit us at our office, 2 Central Street in Bastyr. We're there. So you can come and just get some of the assistance that you need to make these lifestyle changes. We're here to walk with you every step of the way. If it means that we need to come and speak at a workshop or come to your church and talk about it with you, we are willing to do that. So just reach out to us and we can give you some of the assistance that you need.
And also, to remember that, we're not the only ones. The Ministry of Health is out there. They have a health promotion unit. So do reach out to the Ministry of Health as well. They organize a range of free health screenings, a range of activities that you can get involved in, and also access the health centers as well, because again, you can get some of your blood pressure checked, all of those good things, some health screenings done. And then there are also other NGOs that you can reach out to. So the Nevis Renal Society, the Diabetes Association, the Mental Health Association. So reach out to NGOs, other NGOs as well, to get the support that you need as well. There's Essence of Hope Breast Cancer Foundation. There's all the other NGOs, Reach for Recovery. So really do try and reach out as well if you need some support.
Awesome. And for Lake Health, any contact information, social media?
Yes. So we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, Facebook. So just reach out to us. You can email us at info@lakehealthandwellbeing.com. You can WhatsApp us at 765-8702 as well. I'll be very happy to answer any questions that people may have. So, yeah.
Awesome. You've been listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. For those of you who may have tuned in late, I had in studio with me today Abby Beho and Jay Robinson of Lake Health and Wellbeing. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation here on The Edge. Stay tuned.
Church's Texas Chicken is on its way to St. Kitts and Nevis, and we're hiring. You can be part of our growing team as we open our very first store on the island. We're looking for motivated managers, friendly customer service reps, and hard-working kitchen champions. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Send us your resumes today at jobs@pizzaboys.com. Church's Texas Chicken. Flavor you love.
The views and opinions expressed by participants and callers during this program are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or policies of ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation, its management, or sponsors. The station accepts no responsibility for statements made.
Hey, guess what? It's Radio Market.
Call in and sell your merchandise. You can negotiate and negotiate, give and trade.
We on radio, internet, and TV.
Like us, share us, and subscribe to
ZIZonline.com.
And remember, we don't sell nothing over $5,000. Join us right here on ZIZ Radio every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. Call 465-1977, 465-903, or 662-8674. ZIZ Radio, giving back to the people.
At ZIZ, we want to take a moment to salute our small business owners and encourage you to support them. Our small business owners are always hard at work providing quality goods and services to you. They also provide employment for many and can be counted on to give back to our communities. Today and every day, we salute our small business owners and we say thank you for the opportunity to provide advertising services to you. If you're a small business, call us at 465-2621 to join our family of small business advertisers. Call us 465-2621. You'll be glad you did.
The views and opinions expressed by participants and callers during this program are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or policies of ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation, its management, or sponsors. The station accepts no responsibility for statements made. Welcome back to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm Devon Cornelius, and thank you for joining me in the program for today. The phone lines are open. Call us at 465-1977 or 1903 or 662-8674. And of course, we are live via social media. Check us out on our Facebook page, ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation, and via YouTube at ZIZ Online. You're listening to The Edge. Prime Minister Drew recently participated in the UN General Assembly and other very important meetings there in the U.S. between New York, Washington, D.C., focusing on a number of what I would say are global issues. These are issues that other countries, other regions in the world are also facing. And as mentioned, the United Nations General Assembly provides an opportunity for world leaders and technocrats, representatives to discuss these issues and to come up with solutions to address these issues. And so our Prime Minister, alongside other leaders in the region, were also part of those discussions happening there in New York. Just by way of notice, the National Assembly will be meeting on Monday, October 6th, 2025, and that will be for one bill that will be receiving its first reading during the sitting. Dr. Drew will move or will seek leave to introduce and have for the first time the Eastern Caribbean Citizenship by Investment Regulatory Authority Bill or Authority Agreement Bill. That is the Eastern Caribbean Citizenship by Investment Regulatory Authority Agreement Bill. Okay, that's a hefty bill. Encouraging you to tune in and to get more details on this. It's 11:29 and you're listening to The Edge. Now, there is a conversation that has been dominating the airwaves, dominating across St. Kitts and Nevis, the barber shops, the restaurants, the little village shops on this side of the road, on the block. I think a lot of people have been weighing in. A lot of people have been giving their views and opinions on it. And I have listened to the conversations thus far, and it is in relation to the short form SSZ, Special Sustainability Zones, or Zone. And as I mentioned, it's a conversation that has been ongoing for the last couple of weeks in both St. Kitts and Nevis, more so on Nevis, but in both St. Kitts and Nevis. Whether it is via the airwaves or people, asking questions or giving their views on social media or whatever the case may be. So the SSZ, or the Special Sustainability Zone, I think the name of it is self-explanatory. It's a zone for development that focuses or promotes sustainability. That is what it is. And for that proposed, development initiative, there has been, in Nevis in particular, this conversation has been heating up. But I want to hear from our listeners. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the conversation? While, yes, I have listened to persons weigh in on the matter, this is the first time I'm bringing it here to you via this medium. So I'd like to hear your views, thoughts, and opinions on it, and for us to have a meaningful conversation. We may not be able to dissect the entire thing, no. But I think it's a conversation that is definitely worth having for the benefit of all of us. And this is not to come up with any conspiracy theory. This is not to try to guide the conversation in any particular direction. This is to lay the facts on the table and look at what is in front of us, or what is there for us to look at. Now, of course, I have been encouraging people to read the legislation for themselves. Look at the act or the legislation that has been presented or recently passed in the National Assembly. But as I've been saying, don't just stop there. And it's not just that in particular legislation. If you're doing research on any matter, any topic, any piece of legislation or act, you don't just read what has been presented, but you look at different examples to see, okay, this happened in X country and it was successful there. This is what they did. This happened in B country and these were the mechanisms or the checks and balances and so on that they had in place. So that is what I've been encouraging people to do in my everyday conversation with them on the matter. So of course, read it for yourself. Do not allow anyone to give you the information, or even if they give you the information, of course, it's someone who you trust. But read it for yourselves, get an understanding, and do your own homework, do your own research on what is being proposed as it relates to the SSZ, short or Special Sustainability Zone. But it has been heating up and it has been causing a lot of debate and a lot of questions have been raised, and questions about accountability and checks and balances, transparency, and so on. And these are questions that are coming from ordinary people, not necessarily people who are trying to, let me say, muddy the waters, but genuinely asking questions. Okay, how is this going to work? What is going to happen there? What is going to happen here? And these are the questions that have been forthcoming. It's 11:34. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation here on The Edge. The phone lines remain open at 465-1977 or 1903 or 662-8674. Call us and lend your voice to the conversation at hand. Stay with us.
For life's finest moments, celebrate them with Skol Premium Lager. Pure malt, pure class, pure perfection. Skol, class and perfection in a bottle.
From the bench to the palm of your hand, Betcade Sports brings to you iGaming, the ultimate dual gaming experience. Sports and iGaming in one powerful platform, live and legal. Tap your screen, place a bet, spin the reels, cash out fast. No delays, pure excitement. BetCageSports.com. Download the app and sign up today. Play responsibly. Must be 21 and over. Proud sponsor of Cricket West Indies, where a percentage of every dollar played with Cage goes to Windies for cricket and cricket development.
From the heart of ZIZ Radio comes a political talk show like no other. The Edge, with host Devon Cornelius giving you his take on the biggest stories happening in governance today. Got something to say? Let's hear it. Give us a call at 869-465-2555, Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. One solid hour of in-depth analysis of the machinery that makes our country tick. The Edge, cutting into the matters at hand.
Welcome back to The Edge and ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm Devon Cornelius, and thank you for joining me on the program for today, Tuesday, September 30th, 2025. It is 11:37, and we are taking your calls at 465-1977 or 1903 or at 662-8674. Call us and lend your voice to the conversation at hand. For those of you who may have just tuned in, early on, we had representatives from Lake Health and Wellbeing, Abby Beho and Jay Robinson, speaking on some recent activities held in relation to non-communicable diseases and the fight against non-communicable diseases and what we can do as a people to continue to fight NCDs. And of course, front and center is policy change, ensuring that the necessary policies and policies that I would say have teeth are in place to ensure that you see real action, you see real results happening. We can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, but in order for a lot to be done, or in order for much to be done, there has to be policy that backs these recommendations that have been put forward as it relates to the fight against non-communicable diseases. So thank you, Lake Health and Wellbeing, for joining me on the program for today. I think we have a caller coming in, so we're going to head to the phone lines and take this call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, they've been a long time I ain't hear you, boy. It's a long time here, cause
How you doing?
You know that the program was passed for a while.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. So Devon, my little input on this bill. where the government passed with the land business. Yeah, my little input on it, right? That when one party in government, the opposition are strong members of the party criticize it, strong supporters of the party but criticize the bill. You understand? Because what people is saying that the government should have come to the people and with a bill like that in town hall forum. You know? So I saying like this, that if a bill like that and in Dr. Simmons' time and you pass a bill like that, you'll hear the people must say Dr. Simmons selling out the country. And that will be a big talk for St. Kitts. You understand? I'm glad you said that people must read and try to understand the bill them. Because everything we put things as politics. You understand? But up to now we're not there, man. I really understand the bill yet, right? I don't understand it good. With the land bill, the pass. When somebody got me and a great man up there in my brain with so much reading and those things. Somebody will come and put it to me and, explain it to me, and let me know that whether it is right for the country or something bad for the country or whatsoever. You understand? But these are the things we got to face. When one government in office and they do something to maybe uplift the country or something to whatever for the country, strong supporters at the different, maybe opposition in the government, out the government, criticize it. But that is why I said that if a bill like that, if Dr. Simmons pass a bill like that anytime, you'll hear all kind of thing that Dr. Simmons wants to sell out the country and this and that and the other. So it seemed to me like that we just only politicize things when he in for us. When you party and pass it when they're in government. And these are the things we got to understand and try to uplift the country and the government when they do something good. We say they do something good, And I believe that this bill, I want to understand it more because kind of people said this, that go land on this, land on that, foreigners gonna come in, rich man gonna come in and buy out the land them and all those things. You understand? So I will like even the Prime Minister to come on a forum and explain it for us more. And people like me. Because I want to understand. I love my country and this is my country. And, I have nowhere to go but think it. All right then, Brother Devan, you take care.
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution to the program. It's 11:42 and the phone lines remain open and we're taking your calls. So this debate has several tiers to it. It doesn't start and stop with the sale of lands in a special sustainability zone or in the proposed zone. So I think some persons have been misunderstanding that it's just the sale of the lands and that's it. No, the government is not selling lands, and I think everybody is clear on that. The lands in that proposed area dealing with Nevis, because nothing has been proposed on the island of St. Kitts. So on the island of Nevis, the lands in that area, majority of the lands are owned by ordinary Nevisians, by private persons, not owned by the government. And according to the Premier, the developers, or the potential developers, are looking to acquire those lands. And so they have been working with the realtor, Mrs. Brantley, Sharon Brantley, to acquire those lands. And so conversations have been had. Say, hey, we'd like to purchase your land. This is what you're offering. The usual. That is what is going on. It's like me, an ordinary person, looking to sell my land. Now, as I mentioned, the sale of the lands is just one tier. But again, to go over it, the sale of the lands in the area, they're not being sold by whether it be the government of St. Kitts and Nevis or the Nevis Island administration. However, landowners in the area know, and those who have sold argue that when they sold, they were unaware that it was going to be this development. It was just a case of, man, I see you have a piece of land, you have 2 acres in the area, I'd like to purchase. Fine. I mean, if you come and you tell me you have some money to give me for 2 acres of land and the money looks right and I think it's worth what my land is worth, then we can have a conversation. We can sign an agreement and we can facilitate the sale of those lands. But I hope I'm being clear in saying that the sale of the lands is just one tier to it. Now, looking at the act is proposing the area to be a zone based on the sustainable pillars of St. Kitts and Nevis, or the 7 pillars of sustainable development. And so those include things like water security, energy transition, food security, social protection, and so on, sustainable industry, promoting industries that are environmentally friendly and economically viable, like ecotourism and green manufacturing to diversify the economy sustainably. So that is just part of what is being proposed here in the Act. Now, where the questions come is the checks and balances and the oversight and exactly how things are going to be done. Persons argue that it needs more, what's the word I'm looking for? It needs more teeth. It needs more oversight. It needs more transparency, or it needs more accountability. So again, the sale of the lands in the area, I don't think that's the issue, because you cannot tell a private person, you can't force someone not to sell, or you can't force someone to sell. That's one part of it. The other part of it is the checks and balances and ensuring that things are being done the correct way. Now, the Premier gave an address a couple of weeks ago where some questions were asked as it relates to conflict of interest, and I think he cleared the ear, when questions were being asked. Well, your wife, Mrs. Brantley, is the realtor. How is that going to work? And he, in an address, cleared the ear by mentioning that my wife's private real estate company is private and has been private for the last 20 plus years, or how many amount of years she has been in operation. And so he sought to clear the air on that. But the questions came because I think anybody would have that question as it relates to conflict of interest. The point was made, however, that we live in a small island. And so if Ronnie is my brother and Ronnie owns a business, Ronnie is a contractor, and I am the director of physical planning, Ronnie is set to benefit maybe $100,000 from that development. That development has to come before my table for approval because I'm the director of physical planning, but Ronnie is my brother. So with a situation like that, it is not saying that I am going to be biased to Ronnie. It's just that when people hear about that, the natural thing to do is to ask, why, how that going to work if Ronnie is your brother and you're the director of physical planning and you're going to be approving this development that will see Ronnie getting $100,000? Is he going to give you 25% of that? So these are natural questions have been asked, that have been asked. And I don't think that they are malicious questions. And the Premier has responded to those concerns or responded to those questions. So that is just to give you a glimpse into some of the concerns that have been raised as to the special sustainability zone. I myself continue to still read on it and to have a clear or a better understanding as much as possible. I'm not just going to read the act and say, okay, I've read the act, I understand, and I'm going to move on. I think it's something that you need to read over and over again. Just like in school, you gotta read over and over again for you to understand. But you read the act, you listen to both conversations that are being had, and you arrive at your own conclusion. And I don't think it's a case of anybody trying to, what's the word? For me, it's people trying to get a better understanding. Whether you are for this special sustainability zone or you are against this special sustainability zone, I genuinely believe it is our people trying to get a better understanding. I think this has been tried in other countries. It has been successful in other countries. It has not been as successful in other countries. There has been not much oversight in other countries, or there has been oversight or proper oversight in other countries. And so naturally, with any type of development, especially one like this where you're talking about large amounts of land, then I think every citizen and resident of this country have a right to ask their questions, have a right to get a better understanding. And I, for one, don't support the idea of trying to put a lid over, or a muzzle over anybody's mouth for wanting to ask a question. You may not like the question that they're asking, but they should be allowed to ask their questions, whether they are for, whether they are against, to have a better understanding. It is 11:50. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll wrap up the conversation here on The Edge. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
From the heart of ZIZ Radio comes a political talk show like no other. The Edge, with host Devon Cornelius giving you his take on the biggest stories happening in governance today. Got something to say? Let's hear it. Give us a call at 869-465-2555, Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. One solid hour of in-depth analysis of the machinery that makes our country tick. The Edge, cutting into the matters at hand.
This hurricane season, be outright prepared with BOP and win one of 3 $1,000 grocery vouchers when you purchase any 2 BOP 400ml products. To enter, write your name and contact details on the back of your receipt and drop them in entry boxes provided. Entries close September 30th, 2025. Be outright prepared this hurricane season and win one of 3 $1,000 grocery vouchers with BOP. Distributed by Rams Trading.
Welcome back to The Edge on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm your host, Devon Cornelius, and thank you for joining me on the program for today. We are winding down. Just a few minutes left before we wrap up the conversation. I think we can take maybe just one more call at 465-1977 or 1902 or 662-8674. For those of you who may have just tuned in, joining me in studio today were representatives from Lake Health and Wellbeing, and I just threw out the topic of the SSZ, Special Sustainability Zones, and that conversation has been heating up over the past couple of weeks, and questions have been asked, exactly what this development is about. And so I think we all have a responsibility to understand it for ourselves and to break it down to have a very clear understanding of what it is. And as I mentioned, any development that includes such large areas of land will attract questions. It will attract questions, and I believe that is natural. Again, whether you are for, whether you are against, it's natural that it's going to attract questions in terms of what exactly is happening here. It, in a way, reminds me of, for example, the Bastia High School, when we were hearing that the school was going to be built on the aquifer. You had people saying it can't be built in the aquifer. You had others saying it can't be built there. It was a lot of back and forth, and all the experts and some self-proclaimed experts, everybody was an expert on the matter. And they came and said, yes, build it there, it could be built there. And others were like, no, it can't be built there. You know, it was a whole heap of back and forth for quite some time on that issue. And here we are with the SSZ. But there are questions that have been asked. Some that we agree with, some that we don't agree with, some that are legitimate, genuine questions, some that may not be genuine questions or legitimate questions. But I believe every resident, every citizen, they have the right to ask questions in an effort to get a better understanding of this issue and what exactly does this mean for St. Kitts and Nevis. You've been listening to The Edge on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. Until next time, you guys stay safe and continue to enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive. Please take it easy on the road. Tomorrow is a new month, and so let me wish each and every one of you a happy and bright and prosperous October when it comes, and that it may be filled with blessings, joy, and happiness. Coming up now is our midday newscast. Stay with us.